Good morning. Hey, Anthony, you're my very first person here, and I'm just getting myself ready. Good morning. I'm glad that you're here. And let me just grab my beverage, and I'll be right back to get started. Must always remember to drink water. This little reminder as you guys hear me getting ready for the reading. So, welcome everyone. I have my water, and let me just get one more thing. I'm so glad that you're here today because I have been so curious about what it is that brings people together, what it is that keeps us, we all have something in common, or we wouldn't find these readings. So welcome everyone. And we all need to drink more water, and especially in a job where you end up using your voice a lot. So, what is our intention for today? Uh, I always end up teaching what I'm learning. I taught golf for a few years, and thank you, Anthony. I taught golf for a few years, and one of the things I noticed when I was teaching golf was that people are much better at practice than they are when they're out there on the course doing the real thing. And so one of the biggest frustrations, they would come back to the tee and they'd be hitting these great shots. And then they would say, yeah, but when I go to the course, I forget everything. And so that's on my heart today. What is it that you are really good at? What is it that you love to do, but that when the pressure's on, it disappears? I can remember back in the day when I took driver's ed and I was learning to drive, and I was very good at it when I was with my instructor. But when my father got in the car, you would have thought I had a blindfold on. I mean, he would overreact and holler. For example, they would say, be sure to check your blind spot. They want you to look over your shoulder to look at the road behind you. And the minute I did it, my father erupted in anger. What are you doing taking your eye off the road? And those kinds of things can be so startling and scary. They can kind of, hey, Graham, oh, I'm so glad you're here. Gosh, that warms my heart. Yeah, because when they overreact, then you can get like a shock in your system. And it can last for years. So today, what I want to do is I want to draw cards that are especially about that, especially for this first few minutes while you guys are here, because people come and go. So if you'd like me to draw a card, I would love to draw one for you. I have a really fun deck for us to use today. Let me show you a picture. Where's the lid? Oh, here it is. Let me just show you the cards we're using today, because a lot of people like to use cards themselves and purchase them. And I always recommend that because I do my daily card. As you guys have seen, I try to put a card out every day, mainly because if I didn't pull a daily card, then I wouldn't read my cards for when I'm having a busy day. Now that's Murphy you're hearing. He'll be barking now and then. And then Bella, my quiet girl, will not disturb us. So, no further ado. Thank you for waiting. So, who would like the first card here for us today? If you'd like a card, I assume that Graham and Anthony will be in line to get a card. But what I want you to do is to tell me your birth sign so I know what it is for sure. And then I'm just wanting you to hone in or think about an area in your life where you're just what do you call it, underperforming, like you. In fact, I'm going to draw a card to start with. Sure thing, Graham. What's your sign? I forgot. um, and what we'll do is we are going to draw a card just for the whole collective to start, and especially in that focus about what do I call it, like let me move my candle over here so we can see it. um, Oh, underachieving. So you have a gift, you're really good at it, but you just can't. I missed that. I missed that note. So was that you, Graham, telling me the sign? But I'm going to try to keep track. Last week I had a little bit of a hard time because so many people came and I kind of lost track of the chat because I'm not an expert at the managing of this, but I want to do readings for everybody who's here. So if you leave your name and your birth sign, I will jot it down and I'm going to try my best not to get mixed up here. But the first thing we're going to do is draw a card just for the collective. Underachieving. What is it about underachieving and why can't we perform at our best under pressure? So our very first card that we're looking at today is Magical Shapeshifter. Okay, this is a great card for the collective because in a way, I wonder if I can put this down. You can still see it and I can talk. Oh yeah, okay. So with the magical map shifter, I believe that this does show us that we, hi there, I can't even come close to pronouncing that beautiful name, Jahan, but I will write it down. Okay, magical map shifter, I think is our assurance. Hold on, I just have to grab a pen. It's our assurance that we can change our map, that we absolutely have that within us. Oopsie. Ah! Sorry about that, you guys. I lost my camera view. Let me just adjust this down so that I have a better. Okay, I'm sorry. I dropped you on your head. Okay, so anyway, we all have the capability of changing our map at any moment. Okay. Okay. So I don't want to, okay, Anthony, thank you very much. But this reading itself is not designed for like that kind of, like a directive answer. It's more about the collectives for the live stream are really about the general group feeling. Okay. So if you want private readings, please contact me. My information's all over the place. And so I'm happy to help you with that. But anyway, so I've got your name on the list and we'll definitely do the message today about chronic underachievement. Okay. So, but back to the magical map shifter. So if we take a look at this card and look up close, look at all of the activities circling around her. And she's got like a compass on her heart. So that's what we want to always know is that when you're trying to boost your achievement, you're trying to perform better, if in the financial arena, in the career arena, that your heart is where the compass is. Okay. And those of you who've tuned in for my live streams, you want to have a pencil and paper with you all the time because you never know when these little words, and you can create affirmations out of them. You can say, as long as I follow my heart, I know I will be guided. That's such a powerful affirmation to say. And so, with the magical map shifter for the session today, what that's showing us is that the divine is very interested in guiding us, but that we have to stick with our heart. And you know what? If you watch Abraham Hicks, I highly recommend, they will always talk about this place called the vortex, which is where there's no worry, right? Where you have the faith and belief that life is unfolding and you are in the right place at the right time. So I'm just going to set this card here for our theme for the day with map shifting. And now let's take a peek at Anthony. Anthony, you were here first. So I'm going to draw a card. I think I'll just lay them out like this today. Okay. Okay, and let's see, what is the card for Anthony? If you drop a comment into the stream, I will draw you a card. And if I forget you because I missed it while I'm looking at the card, don't be afraid to say it again. Okay, so Anthony, when it comes to what your message is in terms of underachievement, we have the rescue card. Okay, let me take a look at it. Let's look closely. Oh gosh, what I love, look at that guy in the balloon up there. Okay. And this reminds me of the Wizard of Oz. And look at the telescope, right? And he's looking at that lighthouse. So I would say that in this card, there's just like a disconnect. Okay. There's a disconnect between what you're dreaming for and what is your current reality. when you look around if you look at the gap between that telescope, now what that shows me is that there's seeking, there's strong seeking, and telescopes aren't usually that long. It looks like it's as tall as the person. So that just shows me that there's so much intent on finding the answer, that there has been frustration and that they're so close but not quite. When I look at that waterfall that's falling from the cave, and indeed I see a picture of a figure in there, and when I pull up our card for the collective and I look at the two together, I see like that compass at the heart, and then that figure's at the heart. And the heart is, in this picture, the flow of creativity that's coming from the center. So, Anthony, what I feel like, good morning, Sandra. What I feel like, Anthony, is that the universe is calling you to a physical experience. We talked about that, I think, last week, but the idea that when you're feeling very frustrated and your mind is cycling worry, so that would indicate, like here, where you're seeking and seeking a mental answer, that often the body is where your intuition is speaking. And if you have like tightness and aggravation and frustration, your body will tighten up like a spring and it won't allow the guidance in. So, what I would say is for sure when you're making any decisions that you get tired first. Go for a run. Some of you know I love to tease people into doing planks because they're so difficult, but always physiology before psychology. If you're trying to figure out an answer, the quickest way to your heart is to get it beating fast, like in exercise. Okay. Your intuition is going to rescue you. You will hear the answers that you need. And even now, you're being guided to the exact right place. Okay. So next, I have Jahan. I couldn't pronounce the whole name, and I'm so sorry for mispronouncing. But uh, oh, well, Anthony, be sure to contact me with my email for further guidance, and I can guide you into something that would be more, of an ongoing solution for you. Okay, you're sure welcome. So, Jahan, let's pick Jahan. And we have listening. And Anthony, now don't you go leaving now because you know from last week, almost every single card is connected. When we do these collective live streams, it's amazing how the exact right people show up. And so, listening, what do we know about elephants? What is one of the sayings they say about elephants? An elephant never forgets. Okay, now this can be problematic, and this card is for Jahan and for everyone else that's listening, because sometimes when the elephant is not forgetting, he can't listen. So, with this card, and I'm looking at that bird, see the little bird sitting on the top of the head of the elephant singing the notes. Okay, so the first thing is that those of you who watch, I put out your daily card. This is a service that I just offer from my heart to everyone that listens. And there are bird songs that are backing up all of my daily word readings because there's something about birds and their freedom and the beautiful songs that they sing that's uplifting. And even this little tiny bird is trying to uplift this elephant's spirits. When an elephant is in high spirits, it lifts its trunk. In fact, if you have an elephant in your home for art, it's said that you want to have elephants in your home that have a lifted trunk. So what we know about this, Jahan, is that this elephant is feeling sad or burdened. And because poor elephant, he doesn't forget, he can have a difficult time moving forward. So for us as humans, because we are gifted with our intuition and our spirit, we can look and see what it is that we're holding on to from the past. If you are holding hurt feelings from the past, it's like a it's like a rope tied around your stomach, tied to a tree. You can't move forward with hurt feelings. Catherine, are you listening to this? Yes, I am. How many times I pull cards for my own life in the middle of these live streams? And we're all human. So, everybody on the call right now, just backing up Jahan, who's this is her card or his card, but let's all make a vow to ourselves that as best we can on this Saturday, we are going to release the people that hurt our feelings. Okay? Let's say yes. In fact, raise of hands. How many have had a hurt feeling in the last week? Okay, let's all raise our hands. We need to be able to let go. All right, so that's our call. And so if you're enjoying this reading, if this is for you and it's hitting home, hit that thumbs up because then I know. And then when I do the next live reading, I'll know how to go about it. All right. Thank you so much for that idea of just the letting go part. Oh, John, thank you so much. You're so sweet to tell me that because I so do. I want to connect with you and those of you with beautiful names. Where are you from, Jahan, if I can ask? Okay, so again, you're going to find, and I think Anthony, you were here last week or a couple weeks ago for the first time. And isn't it crazy how all the cards knit together for all of us? That's why I love the live streams. Okay, hit that thumbs up if you're here. If you're not subscribing yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Okay, so now, Graham, let's take a look at your picture. Excuse me. Interesting, interesting choice of words, and I think this one. It. Oh, oh, in Pakistan. Oh, wow. Bless your heart and thank you for being so far away. I just love that. And Graham, I think you are from Scotland, right? And Anthony from Chicago. Look at how fabulous we've got this little party going. Okay, Graham, let's see what we have. Solitude. Oh, gosh. This is, again, when I look at this card, I just think how linked we all are. Okay. Now, 13 is the card is the number that goes with the death card in the tarot deck, and sometimes that makes people get all excited. They're like, ah, the death card. But I'm a Scorpio, and the death card is actually my card. It's like my lucky card. Great, Sandra, let me write your name down. Thank you for being here. And it's because obviously, when you are going, oh, excuse me, for me, I live a life of transition. I just moved recently, and I'm living in a different country than I was 6 months ago. So I've had so much upheaval in my life. And as a Scorpio, and Graham, I love that you said that you fear that number. Thank you for that. This vulnerability just touches my heart. I used to be more afraid of it, Friday the 13th and stuff. But then when I found out that it's my card, like as a Scorpio, that was my card. It took me some getting used to. But that's because you have to remember that all of the decks are created with symbols in mind. And the irony is that we have to let go of things. This is exactly like the elephant card, and only in a different way, because we have to let go of our hurt feelings. The hurt feelings within us causes us to have. I'm going to use the word morose. It's Morose, and it just means overly sad. And so, because I went through a serious illness many years ago, I kind of got over my fear of death. I remember when I was so sick, I had two things that came to me, two ideas. Let me just grab my water. Two ideas that comforted me so much. One of them was that death is not going to come 1 minute too early. And when I got that thought, it really came from somewhere else because it's not something that I was aware of. And yes, I'm completely feeling fabulous and have made a miraculous recovery. Every day of life for me is a miracle. But the other thing was that when death comes, it's just the next logical step. And that got me so I was like, "What?" I didn't get it at first, but I work in hospice. It's one of the things that I trained to do, and so I've been with I've actually been with one person who passed, and I've helped other family people when people are passing. And so I began to see that it's just a transition to a different, thank you, Anthony. I don't share this very often, but it's just a transition to a different way of being. When I was actually with my mom when she passed away, right there at the moment, and I just knew for sure she was going to something else that was okay. You know, I was raised Catholic and I have Christian background, and I do believe in a happily ever after on the other side. But my ideas have changed now that I am an older person. I just look at it differently. And I there's a man named Joel Osteen who has a quote that I often love to say. It's not being dead that I'm fearful of, it's getting there. And that's for sure. I mean, nobody wants to go in an uncomfortable way. But well, thank you, Anthony. But part of following the call for your life, being a Scorpio, I do have the capability of standing with people in deep, painful stuff. But everybody has some kind of gift. So now we're back over here to Graham. What is this card showing you in terms of stepping out and finding the next logical step? How could you be standing in your own way, right? Where is it that you have performance anxiety, right? Where you're good at practice, but then when you go do it, you feel like you're falling apart. So one of the things that I would suggest is, this is going to sound odd, maybe it's coming out of left field, but I would practice looking in the mirror and talking. Whatever it is you do on your work, I would like you to imagine that that person is you in the mirror. And I want you to just practice scripting or saying the things that you want to say. I've used this technique many times in my life. If I have to, right now, I need to have a tricky conversation with someone, it's a family member. So I will start being anxious about it. This isn't supposed to be true confessions from Catherine, but whatever. And I get anxious. So what I will do is I'll start thinking and planning what I want to say. So I think when you're uncomfortable or you're feeling too much in solitude, you know you need to get out there, but you just feel like you don't want to be judged by people. Looking yourself in the mirror and talking your idea is really good. Now, some people have a hard time looking in the mirror. If that's the case, lay your hand on your heart, take a breath, and just go through with it. It's just you, and you won't bite you. But if you can get used to talking and looking at yourself in the mirror, you're going to find you're very surprised how confident you'll get. Okay. And then the last message about solitude is don't have too much solitude. The fact that there's a 13 on this card, I think means that the time for solitude is passing away. Okay. So the fact is that solitude feels good. I love it. I'm kind of a hermit, but don't say no to social opportunities. Get yourself out there, even if it's just taking walks and enjoying nature. Okay, Graham, there's your card. A lot of information there. And also, for those of you who are joining, many times on these readings, the cards all knit together. Where's his job? Oh, you're welcome, Graham. You're welcome. Excellent. Be sure to write that. If you write me an email if you want personal guidance, I am happy to provide readings. I have some very low cost readings in my life, and we can work it out. Also, with the daily cards that I post every day, you're going to find guidance there. Okay. Now, if you're enjoying this reading, please do hit the thumbs up so that I know and I'll schedule more lives. If you're new here and you'd like a reading, just drop your name into the comments. And if you want to put your birth sign, I'm happy to take a peek at a card for you. So now let's see. We have Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Were you? I think you were here last time too, weren't you, Sandra? I can't remember. But just refreshing the people that are new here. The cards today that we're drawing are about the things in our life that we're really good about when. Yes, high five yourself in the morning. Hey, thank you, Anthony. That's a great suggestion. Another thing that, oh my gosh, I can't remember the coach that I got this information from, but it works. Honestly, wrap your arms around yourself and give yourself a big hug, like squeeze tight, because when you squeeze your own self tight in a hug, it really works. we don't need to have other people's arms around us. Okay, so Anthony, thank you for that. Okay, excellent. All right, now we're going to Sandra. So, what, Sandra, there's an area in your life that you're better at when you're alone or when you're practicing, but when you go out or try to do something, the performance goes down. This is like performance anxiety, and everybody has it. Oh, by the way, I just started a new channel, you guys, and I did it because I am a writer. And I wanted to start doing readings for people that are creative and they're stuck and they can't do their writing. And so I created a channel about writer's block. And if you want information about it, I'm posting about it in the community. And I would love to have you follow me over there in case you are all creators. Okay, Sandra, wait, let me drink some water first. Okay. Thank you guys for being here. All right. Okay, Sandra. Interesting. What is going on for you? And I want you guys to remember. Oh, thank you so much, Anthony. That just brings joy to my heart because I do want to, when you read um, in a private reading, the cards that come out are clarity, right? And so Anthony received a recorded reading. I didn't speak to him on the phone, but the cards always do the work, like I say. But thank you for that testimonial. It means the world to me. So, Sandra, when I look at this card, the first thing that I notice is that these are not like humans. Okay, let's look at these. They're masks. Okay. So sometimes when you see a card like that, you're like, oh my God, what's happening? Is it a bad thing? No, no, no. Sometimes in life, excuse me, excuse me, the fact that my voice is a little funny is always my sign that someone is having a hard time speaking their truth. Okay. Because, like, when I'm going along giving readings, you can hear my voice. All of a sudden, I lose my voice. That is the universe's way of saying we need to pay attention to speaking our truth. So, Sandra, what I think for you today is that the masks that you wear to protect yourself, like when you're out in public or when you're doing your job or when you're speaking to your friends, that there have been some masks that you've been wearing. Now, before you get all excited, we all do this. Okay, we all put on a happy face when we need to, but sometimes it can be exhausting. And also, people can misread you. They can read you as a person who doesn't have needs or problems or doesn't need support. And we all need support. So, what I would say is that if you're in a situation that you're having some pressure right now and that things are changing, it's a good thing because what it's doing is it's stripping away a mask. Now, let's look again at the picture and you can see there's the person. See, the person is ready to come out. Think about this as a cocoon. Whatever change you're going through, that whatever is coming apart is going to serve you. And it's so important that you speak your truth in love. Have you ever heard of the Oreo technique? The Oreo technique is when you have to tell something unpleasant to somebody, that you say something sweet, and then you say the thing, and then you say something sweet again. Thank you, Sandra, for that confirmation. So, for example, let's say I needed to confront somebody about they're just too sharp with me, that they're using sarcasm and it's hurting my feelings. Okay, so something good, I might say to the person, you know, you have a great sense of humor, and I love that about you. And you may not realize it, but when you're sarcastic with me, it hurts my feelings. And then at the end say, I know you would never intentionally hurt me. You know, you're always so funny. See what I mean? And when you say your correction in between compliments, the person is more likely to receive them. So don't be afraid to take off the mask, speak your truth, and step out into your talent because you have talent, Sandra, but you're holding yourself back by not speaking your truth. Okay. Now, anybody else here who would like a reading? Please add a comment with your name and your sign, and I'd be happy to pull a card for you. Also, I do have on Etsy, I have several readings that are posted, and there's in the description box there and the about section, there's the posting of the Etsy, and I can add that to this stream also. But I do other types of readings that are not on that particular website. So you can email me at tarnishedangel tarot@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to get back to you with information about private readings. What's the difference between private reading and reading for the collective? Sometimes not too much, ironically. Many times the reading you hear in a collective is exactly what you need to hear. So I'm going to draw another card for the collective today while I'm waiting, if in case anyone else wants to have a card drawn, just to see what else we can learn about the idea of what I call performance anxiety, where you're better at something in at home or when you're alone than you are when you're on the job or out. And for example, I work with a lot of athletes who have, well, look at the football. I don't know if you're sacred traveler, and draw a card for your son, okay? I don't know if you were watching any football. If you're in the U.S. Traveler, if you're in the US right now, there's football championships going on, and in the last weekend there was a lot of performance anxiety. The Dallas Cowboys had a quarterback that could not achieve his best at that game. And imagine the pressure. Imagine the stadium of people being hateful and all the TV fans being hateful and all the pressure on that young man's shoulders, right? And I'm sure that in practice, he can throw touchdown passes from now and forever. So, what is it that keeps us from our best performance when it counts? Stuck in the mud. Do you love this reading, you guys? I love this reading because, of course, if you're just new and you just joined us, I will pull up this other card where it's the second elephant of the reading. Okay. And just in refreshment, this was a reading about forgiving somebody in their past, because look how sad this elephant is. And remember, for those of you, I'm repeating it, I'm sorry, but that if you see an elephant with the trunk hanging down, that is a sign that the elephant is feeling sad or depressed. This is no lie. And so here, we have stuck in the mud. So that's showing us that as a collective, we are climbing out. Now, notice how his trunk here is lifted. It's not lifted up in a celebratory way, but it's lifted up in a moving forward way. He does look like he's stuck in the mud. Again, we have another bird on the back of the elephant that's giving us that sense that he's carrying someone. Okay, so you may be carrying someone, you may be carrying your whole family on your back, right? You may be carrying, like, for example, with Sacred Traveler, she's carrying the concerns for her son on her back. And remember that worry keeps you stuck in the mud. Did you hear that, Catherine? Yes, universe, I heard. Worry keeps you stuck in the mud. Okay. And so, what we're needing to do is to keep moving forward as a collective, right? We're keep moving forward. We do want to perform at our best at all times if you're human, right? But if you go out like the poor Dallas Cowboys quarterback and you have a public failure, the person that you have to forgive is yourself, right? Because you've let yourself down again. Being stuck in the mud is no crime. You're wandering the path of life and you slip into the mud, but recognizing when you're stuck and doing something about it. People who get readings, really, if you have a monthly reading where your cards are laid for the month and you know what to expect in terms of your personality and how you respond to things, that's more than enough. You don't need to have private readings all the time, but being able to key into what's important for you and letting these symbols speak, it just brings such comfort. and it lets you know you're on the right track. And all of us are in transition. We're all moving. Nothing stays still forever. Okay. So I think for the collective, this is really fun. I'm going to put this up here because what we're learning is that one of the things that's keeping holding us back from our best performance is forgiving ourselves for past mistakes, right? I wish there was like a thing that you could tap and just it'd be like, yes, I agree. Because I know that if you look back, I'll bet you anything that if you think about things that are worrying right now for you, it's connected to a failure in the past, right? I have to run and get a tissue, you guys. I am so happy you're here listening with me. Bless you. But a lot of this reading has to do with me, and and we're all part of this collective energy of people who really want to do our best. And thank you for being in this space with me. If you're enjoying the reading, hit that thumbs up. And also, if I've not drawn a card for you and you would like me to draw one, just put your name into the stream, and I'm happy to share the time with you. And Graham is one of the people that really you found me almost right away. I mean, I've been on for a year now on YouTube, and I've gone from just very few followers to almost 6,000 followers in this year, and uh, that's part of what the marvel of how the internet can connect people who enjoy the same stuff. And so I didn't expect this to happen. I just went out and started doing readings. I didn't know so many people would come and want to enjoy. So thank you for that. And Anthony, I think you just corrected my football analogy. So thank you very much. And I grew up a Packer fan. I hope you all still like me, especially Anthony. Okay, so this is a Sacred Traveler. This is the card for your son and education. So I have a feeling, just the fact that this card fell, that this may be part of your issue. I think with children, a lot of times they don't see the value of education, and that can be so frustrating for parents. So I'm just sensing that this card is just hitting the nail on the head here. So let's just take a look at the symbolism and see what we have. I'm just take a good look. Okay. Okay. So what I think here is that in your experience, sacred sacred traveler, in your experience, you know the magic in books. There's something about you that even if you have not been able to travel as much as you want, that you have traveled in books and that education is so highly valued for you. And you, like many, many parents today, have a hard time expressing that to younger people. And even the way you were a student, because you used books, and now they're not even using books. And so I feel like looking at this little figure that's trying to fly away from the book, it's showing me that there is that desire to do something different in your child, that the child is not doesn't know how they fit, because books are not their friend. But when I look over there at that, I believe it's a crane that is just calmly watching this thing going on. So the first thing I want to say to you, sacred traveler, is Google the spiritual meaning of crane. Okay, anytime animals show up, either in person or in cards, it's always smart to go and look up what the spiritual meaning is, because I have a feeling there is a real message there. So, in education, I think that what the best thing you can do is to write down. I would write down a list. Oh, this is may or may not work, but it's what's coming to me. Write down a list of all the things that you knew in school yourself that were helpful to your learning. Okay, so books would be one. If you're at the advanced age of moi, I actually had chalkboards and I did arithmetic on a chalkboard in front of the class, and I was so terrified because I'm very anxious if I'm put on the spot and math is not my topic. Give me English, right? I can tell a story, but I'm not very good at math. And I would have like panic attacks when they, pretty welcome. I would have panic attacks if they asked me to go to the board. And a lot of times I would run to ask if I could use the bathroom at math time. So when you write your list of the way they taught you, how did they teach you in school, Sacred Traveler? And then on the other side of the paper, write down how they're teaching your child. And then as you just look at that list and look at how many new ways there are to educate, I am an older adult. I use YouTube to learn things. I mean, I'm a writer. So if I want to learn, right now I have a client that I'm writing for on a golf website. And I did teach golf, and so I understand it. But I have to go and research other people's ideas in order to write appropriate article. So 25 years ago, I might have gone to the library and looked up books. 30 years ago, now I can just go to YouTube and ask YouTube, how do you write a great blog? And guess what? Up comes YouTube. So for your son or for your child, it might be that the way he learns is just so different that you guys need to make an adjustment. And because he's 10th grade, he's, 10th grade going on 40, maybe if you share the list with him and show how the differences of when you were in school and when he was in school, and create a negotiation so that you can really tap into his natural learning style. Okay? I hope that that's a blessing for you, Sacred Traveler. It's not easy to be raising kids in this culture for sure, but there are ways to touch base. So even though it looks like he's running away from the book, I don't think he's running away from books. I just think he wants to learn in a way that works for him. Okay, and be sure to look up that crane meaning for yourself. Okay, where's my, now I need another tissue. Luckily, I have a tiny apartment. Okay, and Preeti, I am assuming you would love a card, so I will do that. And welcome to the call. Those of you who are just joining, welcome. If you would like a card, just put a comment in there and I'll draw one for you. And today we're doing peak performance. You know, what is it that causes people to do less, to be less efficient when it counts? And how you can be so good at something when you're practicing, but when you go out and it counts, you just kind of shrink into a shivering 6-year-old and you can't accomplish anything. Okay, let's pull a card for Pretty. Ah, this is a beautiful card. Okay, let's see if I can get her in focus here. Okay, intention. And so the power of intention. This is a reminder today. First of all, we have two twos here at the top. So that's kind of showing me that you may be looking at a decision. The twos are in the tarot, the two is a decision card. And sometimes that can cause worry. And again, we've talked a little bit about worry here on the call today. So what this card is that when you have an intention, it really is like a seed or like an egg. Okay, so let's say you set an intention to have a better job, for example. You need a new job. So you set that intention and you pray, and then you're starting to look. Perhaps you look at the ads, perhaps you look at online for work or whatever it is that you're doing. But the seed does not grow the same day. Okay, this egg does not hatch the same day it was laid. And so when you look at the owl, first of all, the owl is a sign of wisdom. See if I'm holding too close. The owl is a sign of wisdom, and also holding that dandelion in its beak. And the dandelion is a flower here in the States that starts off yellow, and then as it dies, it turns into this beautiful. Really, it's a beautiful globe of feathery, white, soft seeds that fly away. And it is a beautiful thing. Many small children like to blow on the dandelion and blow those seeds and watch them fly in the air. So there's this softness and gentleness about this card. There's also the owl is way out of proportion, right? This can't be the owl's egg. That would be very painful to lay an egg that large, right? So what I'm seeing for you, Pretty, is that the intentions that you have been laying forward for your future are just fine. The timing is not right yet for you to see the answer that you want. So, what's the best thing to do? Gratitude. Gratitude. So, what you do is, let's say you're waiting to hear about I'm just using the new job situation. And oh, you're welcome, Sacred Traveler. I'm so glad I could help. Please reach out. Anybody who wants to touch base with me, my contact information is on the channel, so please reach out. But what this is showing me, Pretty, is that something big is happening. Something good is coming because you have a strong intention for your betterment and for the betterment of your life. What it's saying is that it's just not the right time yet. So with the gratitudes, I like to use those little sayings, even though I don't know how, my career path is clear right now. Even though I don't know how, I have all the clarity I need right now. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you that I see my next steps. Gratitude journal. Start writing down everything that's good around your life right now. And this is another thing that I love to do, honestly. It's a silly habit and I can't guarantee it works, but it always lifts my spirits. I'll walk around my apartment and I'll just pick up things like, for example, I love this candle. I love this water. I love this pen. Oh, good luck to you, Graham. Have a wonderful day. And thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me. I love this pen. I love this pen. And then I'll walk around and I'll touch the stuff in my house and I'll tell it that I love it. And I got this tip from Abraham Hicks from Esther, and it really feels good to me because if I'm continually telling myself how much I love certain things, I just feel happier. So that's what I wish for you. And also the timing, trust the timing. Okay. Um, who else would like a card? If today we're doing readings on kind of underachievement, what is it you're good at? What's holding you back? A little bitty block that we can help you with. In the meanwhile, I have all kinds of readings over in my Etsy shop, and there is a reading for what you need to know right now. That is what Anthony got earlier a couple weeks ago. And honestly, the cards do all the work, they fall out. I record exactly what the cards say, and then you get your own YouTube, private YouTube for yourself with an unlisted link. So only you are, of course, looking at it. So, oh, Anthony, that's very kind. I've been told that my voice is very soothing, and so I appreciate that. In fact, when I taught golf a few years ago, people used to say back then, could you just record yourself? It makes me feel better, and I could take you on the golf course with me. I laughed, but little did I realize these years later that I'm actually recording my voice. So crazy. Okay, let's take a look for the collective again here. What else do you have for the folks on the line about underachieving and what we can do to shine our star? And we have slow and steady. This one is perfect. It's a great follow-up card for Pretty's card because while you're waiting, okay, so let's just pull this back up. These cards go together very nicely. There's another two showing up, which is, again, I feel like some of the people on the call may be in a choice point. But if you've planted your intention, it is a seed, you know what it is you want to manifest in your life, and you're waiting, right? So slow and steady is so frustrating, I think, sometimes because the last thing we want to do is go slow. However, there's wisdom in that. In the same way that you don't plant a seed of corn in the morning and then go out at night and pick yourself a ear of corn to eat. It's just not nature. Okay, so I believe that this card is calling us to understand that we are in a natural world. Mother Nature rules for sure. Slow and steady always works. I can't think of, I wonder what the fastest growing seed is. I should Google that and see what it is. Because it's true that a hummingbird, I believe when they lay their eggs, it's just a matter of days before a new hummingbird hatches. And then if it's an elephant, I think it's close to a year of pregnancy. If it's a plant, it's always time for that germination to take place, for the root to grow, and then for the plant to grow, and then to bear fruit. So slow and steady is definitely the key for the success that we're looking for. So as a collective, I think that this is a fantastic combination because we have the magical map shifter that promises that we are capable of change, that we are map shifters. We're not, when you're born, you're not born with just one thing to do. And in this world today, people can have two, three, four, 8 careers before they're done, right? So we have the capability of shifting our map at any time. And what we need to avoid is getting stuck in the mud. We have to realize that, of course, we're going to have doubt. And of course, we're going to, have times when we slug through some unfortunate circumstances. But that's part of life. And it's so necessary because at the end of the day, if we can embrace slow and steady and embrace what it is we're called to do. Now, what do you do while you're waiting? It's easy. Clean out clutter. I can just stop. Every one of us has a junk drawer filled with crap. The trunk of our car, well, not every one of us. I know some very organized types, but there's always corners of your life you can declutter. Do you know that's the smartest thing to do when you're feeling stuck? Get your eyes and your hands and your brain busy going through crap. Throwing away stuff feels so good. And every one of us has a corner of our life that can be cleaned out. How many times have you gone to your refrigerator or your freezer and found something dated a year ago and you think, how in the heck did a whole year go by and I still have this decrepit piece of food in my freezer? Okay, so while you're waiting, don't get mad, get clean and declutter something. I'm listening to my own advice today. I'm thinking in my mind, what can I clear out? On a spiritual or energetic basis, this is a known technique. I heard about it from a spiritual grandma years ago, where they said, anytime you clear clutter in the natural world, you're making room for the universe to bring you something in the supernatural, right? So if you're a manifester and things haven't been happening fast enough, clean out a drawer. Okay, so anybody else would, I'm going to put this up here. Whoops, with the collective cards. If you'd like a card, I'd love to draw one for you. I love doing the live streams, touching base with you guys, what it is that you're needing, what you're wanting to hear today. If you're enjoying, you are sure welcome, Sandra. If you're enjoying the reading, for sure, hit the thumbs up because I will come back and do more lives if you guys like them. It's what I love to do. So let's see here. Who else haven't I read for? Drop me a comment. I'm happy to draw you a card here. We have a few more minutes left. I'm going to be closing off at an hour today. And love these Saturday mornings, and I will be coming back, not to worry. Who would like to have a card? Shall I just draw one for the collective? Why not? What a great card for us. It's a good card for finishing because I do believe that this is our goal, right? That everybody on the call, one way or the other, is looking for a golden palace experience. We do want to have the work that we do and the things that we're focused on shine, whether it's a hobby, perhaps you're an artist, if it's your business, if it's your home. There's a golden palace. It can almost be like an illusion because there's the thought that something could be better than what you're experiencing right now. So I'm pulling a tiny bit of a yellow flag warning on this for us today because I think part of performance anxiety or not being at our best when it counts comes from having goals that are not realistic. Okay. Because sometimes you can watch something on TV or see a YouTube or read a book, and you can start almost living somebody else's dream, that you're drawn away from what is true for you. Because not everybody needs to live in a palace, and some people do. But the reality is finding contentment. Contentment is so valuable that it's more valuable than a golden palace. This has to do with the message of we don't go after happily ever after, we go after happily along the way. Because the joy that you have every minute is what keeps you going forward. Abraham Hicks is full of videos on how to do this, and gratitude is a big part of it. Contentment, the meaning of the word contentment is enjoying scenery along a detour. So you're not going directly the way you thought was best, but there are so many things along the way that are put there by the divine for you to enjoy, like breadcrumbs. And that if we can learn to be thankful for the tiniest things, we have so much contentment, our life becomes the golden palace. It's not like we're going to live in the golden palace. It's our life is a golden palace experience because you can find an element of okay, this is okay, I'm okay in any one moment. Okay. So this is a fantastic place to close off this call. I'm just tickled pink. It's another hour that I get to spend with you. Thank you so much for reaching out, for coming. Be sure thank you, Anthony. The happily along the way makes all the difference. I will be back next Saturday, the good Lord willing, to do another live at 9 o'clock my time. I'm in the Central. Be sure to check out my Etsy shop and also just email me with questions and I'll get right back to you. tarnishedangel@gmail.com. Bless your hearts, you guys. Love you all. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.